Welcome to episode 89 of the Our Two Cents podcast with me, Nem.
And me, Ross.
And we are in Bridgerton week, month / year. I don't know. Bridgerton, baby.
Is back, baby.
Mr. Worldwide.
Mr. Worldwide.
Okay, so we're presenting
That'll make sense later.
Very unhinged, unedited episode because we want to just get it out there.
Oh, yeah.
Without wasting like a whole week in editing.
Yeah.
So today we're going to talk about Bridgerton season 3 part 1. And that is it.
Yep.
We are not talking about anything else. That is it. So let's jump straight into it.
Oh, yeah.
I have notes. Which
I have notes
usually.
in my head.
I have some written notes, actually, which is actually the point of the written notes was to make some TikTok videos because they kind of bugged me a little bit.
Oh, okay.
So I shall be going through what bugged me. Anyway, Okay, let's jump straight into Bridgerton season 3, part 1.
Part 1.
Because Netflix likes to torture us.
Yep.
But as in Colin's words, it's a torture that I do not wish to.
Do not want to.
Do not want to do without. It's not the exact words, I'm paraphrasing, but you get the gist, right?
Oh,
anyway,
it's so good.
So if you have been living under a rock and you have not watched Bridgerton, what are you doing
with your life?
Exactly. Like, you need to get on that, like, right now. There's so many people who have not watched Bridgerton before, and because of the hype of season 3 have gone like, I'm intrigued, and they started watching it, and they're like, why have I not watched this before?
Exactly.
Right? So anyway, so Bridgerton season 3 follows Colin and Penelope. We have talked about Bridgerton before, but we've not done like a separate episode, have we?
Yes, we have.
Oh,
we did for season 2. We did season 2.
Oh, yes, we did.
In its entirety.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
Because that's how they gave it to us.
Yes, we did. I agree. So we're going to do, obviously, this episode's going to be a part 1, and then the next part 2 is going to have a separate episode. Yeah. So anyway, so this part 1, lots of setup. I feel like there's a lot of setup in this, not that much follow through so far. The consequences have not happened yet.
Episodes,
yeah.
So obviously that was how it was going to go.
Yeah.
But yeah, the setup's pretty good too.
Setup's pretty decent.
Setup's pretty decent.
Pretty
hefty.
So okay, so we've got, basic stuff. We've got Colin, Penelope, they're our leads this year.
Yeah.
We've got Kate and Anthony, who have returned from their honeymoon. We have Benedict Bridgerton, doesn't really know what's happening.
Yeah.
Eloise is a bit lost after her big fight with Penelope because she found out that Penelope was Lady Whistledown.
Yeah.
And Lady Whistledown almost ruined Penelope by calling her a political radical.
Yep.
So yes, there's a lot happening. Colin's just come back from his travels abroad. He's Mr. Worldwide.
Yep.
And and the ton is ready to once again mix and mingle.
Yes.
But we have a very important new addition this year, which is Francesca.
Yep.
And she is a new addition because this is a new actress.
New actress as well. Hannah Dodd is playing this version of Francesca, and she's great.
She's great. She looks like Violet.
She looks like Ruth Gemmell.
She does.
Exactly like her.
She looks
standing
like her
together,
daughter.
and I was like, this is kind of perfect in every way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to say, I do feel bad for the original actress, though, because she left to do another show
and then also got cancelled.
That's just sad.
And by then, they probably would have already cast Hannah.
No, that's just poor thing. Oh, well.
Anyway.
Oh, well. Anyway, so, so this season starts off with everyone coming back to the ton.
Yep.
We have, all our old favorites. We have Queen Charlotte with even bigger and better wigs.
Oh, my God.
This year.
Oh, my God.
Stunning wigs.
Wigs are stunning.
Oh, beautiful. And then we have, obviously, our favorite Lady Danbury. Stunning. And then we have a new family in town. We have the Mondriches. Who are not technically
They're not new, but they're new to
the
high
ton.
society.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're new to high society. So there's a lot happening.
Yeah.
And of course the Featheringtons are there, the Portia and the two sisters are there. So very entertaining. So there's a lot happening. Okay. Yeah. So I don't think we need to talk about we don't have to give the plot because pretty much
everyone
people know
would
what
know.
it
If
is.
you're listening to this, you know the plot, but it's basically that Colin and Penelope have been friends for so long, and Penelope's been in love with Colin for just as long. Yeah. And this is the season that feelings come to light for both of them.
Yep.
And we have friends to lovers.
Yes, we do.
So that's great.
So season 1 was fake relationship.
Fake dating.
Season 2 is enemies to lovers. And season 3 is friends to lovers. Yeah. So I really liked how each season is following a trope, which is perfect. But generally speaking, we've got Penelope who's in a position. So every character is like in an interesting position. We've got Penelope who is literally like, well, her friendship's broken up. She is, I don't think she's scared of her secret coming out as much, because she would have been, but she's not anymore, because, you know, it's been the whole summer's happened. Yeah. Nothing's happened yet. So she feels quite comfortable there. But she is feeling very despondent because of, you know, her sisters are married. There's this pressure from the sisters, you know, needing to have an heir, have a son, so that, you know, they'll gain the Featherington title, which was, you know, the forged thing. Yeah. And she is not very happy at her prospect of no marriage, therefore no freedom.
Yep.
And having to forever take care of her mother.
Yep.
So, which is very similar to in the books.
Yeah.
The only difference is in this, it's about 3 years. In the books, it was about 12 years.
Yeah.
So there's that time difference there.
Yeah.
So there's, you know, all of that happening. Colin comes back and he is feeling he's feeling himself a little bit. Yeah. He's quite confident.
Sowing his oats.
He's sown his oats. And he is currently sowing his oats as well. Mm-hmm. He has learned charm.
Yes.
His jaw moves in ways that we have not seen before. Mm-hmm. He's trying to flex it a little bit as he's talking to the ladies of the town. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so like a lot is happening here. Yeah. Okay, so straight off the bat, like when we're gonna jump in to like episode 1. Yeah. All right. I don't think we should go through episode by episode, storyline wise, but I think episode 1 is a good start to kind of look at how the story picks up from where they've left off. So as we mentioned before, we've got Kate and Anthony. I think let's get them out of the way, because they basically only show up in episode 1. In the first episode. Which is a little bit disappointing. Yeah. For us massive Kate and Anthony fans.
For us Anthony shippers. Yeah.
But what we do see is very good.
It's very good what we do get.
It is very good.
They're basically making an heir. Pretty much. Do with that what you will. But they're still in the honeymoon phase, I would say.
Wedded bliss.
They're in wedded bliss. Yeah, they're great. I mean, how can you fault what you see with them? Because it's Johnny and Simone. Like,
absolutely, they look stunning.
They're stunning. They look amazing together.
And they're just so happy.
They're just so happy. And
it's nice to see them happy.
That's what we want for them, because there was so much angst in season 2 that we were just like, when do we get to see them happy?
Right.
Well, it's
now we do.
Yeah, and they're going through that. They're going through this responsibility of Anthony not just being Viscount, but also now Kate being Viscountess. Yeah. And how they're going to do that together. And, you know, the transition of Violet her having to possibly leave the house. They
call it the Dower House.
The Dower House, which in the book it's just called the Number 5.
Number 5, because they can't decide what name.
What to give it. What to name. Yeah, I love that. It's just called the Number 5.
Yeah. But essentially, like, the concept of the Dower House is that the Dowager, whoever is going to move in there, so that the new Viscountess kind of is able to settle. Yeah. Right? Yeah. But I really like that Kate literally is like, in India, mothers can stay for as long as they want. Yeah. And also, she tells Anthony, your mother's not ready to give up her role as Viscountess. Like, she loves it. She enjoys it. And I think that's a really nice, like, you could see it in, like, initially, in fact, when Anthony comes and hugs her from the back and she's like, your mother. And I was like, oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no. What has Violet done now?
Yeah.
is this gonna be like
oh,
bad?
God.
But then he's like, oh yeah, I know, we have to tell her to leave.
Yeah.
And then she sits back and she goes, no, what if we don't?
What if
and
we
I'm
don't?
like, oh, that's nice.
That's nice.
Yeah, that's really sweet. So I really like that, but I'm really hoping that we get to see a bit more of them in part 2.
Yeah.
When they're back.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's not talk about Kate and Anthony. We'll come back to them. Let's talk about our main couple.
Yes. Colin and Penelope.
Pollen.
Pollen.
Okay, so let's talk about Penelope. Oh my gosh. Like,
she's incredible.
I love her.
Yeah.
I absolutely
We didn't already love her. We love her even more now.
Like, I have always loved her.
Yeah, same.
Right?
Yeah.
But this season, I'm just looking at her and I'm going, I love you. Like, I really do. I really, really love you.
Yeah.
I think you are brilliant. You are not all sweet and perfect and innocent. No, you are a layered, complex woman.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I just...
Yeah, look, she's complicated and she's complex and she's got, you know, a lot to work through. But that's what makes her so interesting. Because I think if she'd just been like, oh, you know, happy, whatever, and then it just wouldn't have worked. Like, you know.
I think the fact that, you know, she's had that big friendship breakup.
Yeah.
Has really added that depth to her. Plus, you know, hearing Colin say something so hurtful.
Yeah.
Where, you know, if, again, you're living under a rock and Colin says at the end of season 2 that, you know, I would never court Penelope Featherington. Like, never
not in your wildest
fantasies. That's never going to happen. And she overhears that.
Yeah.
Now, in the book, they've handled it differently. And I think I prefer this.
Yeah.
Because in the book, she overhears that she's walking out of Bridgerton house. Yeah. And she overhears the 3 brothers talking. Yeah. And Colin is saying this to Anthony and Benedict. Yeah. And all 3 of them, she goes, I never asked you to court me. Yeah. She's standing in the doorway and they all turn around and be like, oh shit. Yeah. It's like an oh shit moment. Yeah. And Colin freezes. And I don't think, I cannot remember whether he apologizes for it. He probably does. Yeah. But it's Anthony that comes out and he walks her home and he's like, you know, whatever. He explains. I do like that because there is that Anthony sort of, you know, older brother thing. Yeah. But I really like the way they handled it in this. Yeah. In the show. Yeah. Because it was a direct confrontation between her and Colin. Yeah. So I think let's put a pin in it for a minute. Okay. But let's talk aesthetics first.
Okay. All right.
How pretty is
Oh my gosh! Okay. So this is the thing. When we reviewed Emma, the latest adaptation of Jane Austen's novel with Anya Taylor-Joy, we said that everything was so beautiful. It looked amazing. Like it looked like a giant cake. And you just want to eat it. That was this as well. That has been like since season 2. Yeah. Like everything is so pretty that it's just like you just want to like especially the wallpaper and like Danbury's.
Oh, I love
living
that.
room. The pink wallpaper. You just want to go up and lick it.
And like hope for it to be sweet.
Oh my god, it's so beautiful. Everything is just so like bright and stunning and like, and even when like it's dark, it's like these like amber light glow, and it's just like the lighting is just so perfect for every situation. And then like if it's a really like you know, dour situation, it's like everything is blue and sterile and like it's just it's great.
I think even just like the glow ups I think fantastic. Are so good
for everybody,
for everyone. Like it's not just obviously Colin and Penelope. But everybody. Like we have to talk about Colin Hill. Yeah. Right? Now, I'll be honest. When Bridgerton first came out, I didn't know that it was books. Yeah. I think until the end of Bridgerton, that's when I found out. I was like, oh, they're books. Okay, fair enough. Yeah. And then you find out that it's all the siblings getting their love stories. And I'm like, really? Colin? Really?
Aw, poor Colin.
He looks like a baby, number one. And I'm just like, I just didn't find him cute. Like, he just did nothing for me. Whereas Anthony, right from season 1, I was like, I even liked the sideburns.
I didn't much care for the sideburns, but I was like, this guy's hot. If he just removes the sideburns, I'll be so happy.
I was happy with the sideburns.
And then season 2 happened. I was like, oh, thank God.
I was happy with the sideburns as well. I didn't have a problem with that. But I literally, and of course, Benedict is stunning.
Benedict has been stunning since season 1.
But I could not see Colin. And I was just like, how are they going to do it? I literally could not see it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I do not know how they're going to do this. Mm-hmm. And then the promo pics came out.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay.
Hold on. Well, before that, we saw Luke Newton buffing up.
True. But even then, it did nothing for me.
But there was like a lot of pictures of like behind the scenes and stuff. Not behind the scenes because they keep all that pretty secret until like the show comes out. But like, you know, even just like them walking somewhere or whatever. Like, I'm just like, oh, okay.
Something's different.
Yeah. And then,
but it still wasn't.
The promotionals came out and I was like, excuse me.
I was like, excuse me? Excuse you? Colin Bridgerton? Is that you?
Bridgerton?
In Anthony's word, is that our brother?
Is that our brother?
Like, I'm completely floored. I think this man is so hot.
Oh my gosh, he's beautiful.
He is beautiful.
Yeah, that's a beautiful man.
That is a beautiful man. Yeah. Right? Now.
And not just in the show, but also in real life too, because my God, I mean, we'll get to all the press stuff later as well, I think.
But oh my goodness, like I so just flipped for him.
Yeah.
He looks so good. Like he looks amazing.
I can't
like that scene where he first comes in.
Pirate Colin
comes in and he literally surprises his family, and then he's in the carriage with the brothers and he takes his shirt off because he's changing, and Benedict is like,
under what foreign sun did you get so sturdy?
I love a sturdy Colin Bridgerton.
Me
he
too.
is definitely sturdy. Wow.
Yeah.
Like, wow. And can I just say, kudos to not get, and they did that with Anthony as well, to not getting these boys to wax their chests.
Yes, thank you, God.
We need furry chests.
Don't say furry.
Not furry, but you know, like just like a normal chest,
a normal looking chest
with hair on it.
Yeah.
Like I hate like this. That's not the like, one criticism I have about
shiny skin. That's like a bot.
Exactly. Like, that's the one criticism I have about Captain America.
Yeah.
It's like, especially when it's like, you know, no. No.
Oh my God.
And you know me, I love my cap.
We're going on a tangent here. But
I love my cap. But no, I love that. Okay. So he looks stunning.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the costumes have been done so beautifully.
Oh, my God. The costumes are
right?
stunning.
So his glow up is great.
Yeah.
Penelope's glow up is even better.
I just, she looks like, just like, honestly, like Ariel. Oh, she's beautiful. Stunning. And she's wearing blue, so it really helps with that whole look.
The thing that I really appreciate, and this is where we're coming to the serious talk. Maybe not serious, but, you know. The thing that I really appreciate is that they did not make her lose weight.
Yes.
Right? They didn't... Because in the book, this is what I've always had an issue with the book. Because it is like 12 years since she's been on the marriage march. She is, nearly 30, right? Yeah. She's 29 or whatever. She's lost the weight, right?
Yeah.
So the whole thing is like, she's now attractive because she's lost the weight.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas in the show, I really love that that's not what they've done.
Yeah.
They didn't make her lose weight.
Look, in that way, it kind of does make sense because, like, they're not going to ask someone to, like, lose weight.
Well, they have.
Well, they have in the past.
Yeah.
Not
Bridgerton, but other places.
Specifically,
yeah.
But, like, other places have.
Yeah.
I feel
to put on.
Or to put on. And I don't know that they would do that with this just because Nicola is the person who she is and she never would have agreed to something like that. But, you can't exactly ask people to do that.
No, not anymore, I think. Because it has happened where actresses have had to lose weight.
It's really bad.
It's horrible. Or they have not been hired.
Yeah.
Right? So I think I really appreciate the fact that they have not asked the actress to lose weight. Number one. Number two, they have allowed for her body to be seen properly.
Yes.
They have put her in clothes that are flattering. And obviously that is part of her glow up, obviously. Yeah. But it's like they haven't hidden things. They haven't squeezed her into things that she should not have been squeezed into.
Yeah.
Like, they have showcased her curves and her voluptuous figure. And I really like that.
Yeah.
That a woman who is... Technically, Nicola's not even plus size. No. I think she's mid-size. But anyway, she's plus size coded. Yeah. You could say.
Yeah.
I love the fact that we get to see an actress who is herself. Like, who's representing girls who look like that. Let's face it, we look like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, maybe not like Penelope, because she looks gorgeous.
I wish I looked like Penelope. Wish I looked like that, but yeah.
But you know what I mean, right? So she gives us like this hope, this inspiration of you can see yourself in that spot of being desirable and someone really being attracted to you. I think that's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think they've done a great job there.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like I know plenty of people, even friends, who have just been like, I see so much of myself in Penelope. And, like the fact that she is being seen in this way, it's really like comforting, you know?
Oh, absolutely. Very healing.
Very healing. Yeah. Yes, that's the word.
It is really nice.
Yeah, a lot of people have said that to me in the last week or so. But yeah. Okay,
so if you were to, let's talk about good, right? Let's talk about the good, and then let's talk about the bad. There's not that much bad, but we're not gonna do ugly because there's no ugly.
There's no ugly.
But what we would like,
not that bad. But yeah.
But what we would have liked to see instead, and also, you know, criticisms, and then,
you know, like, we have to talk about like specific bits.
Yes.
As well.
Yes,
so,
of course. Okay, so the good. What do you think in terms of like, if you were to pick like some specific, either storyline wise, character wise, what would you pick as like being standout things that you're like, okay, this is great?
I don't know if this fits into like whether it's a storyline or whatever, but I really love the way they've handled their courtship or whatever you want to call it, because it reads and it looks and feels like a rom-com.
Yes.
Because there's so much of it where they're just really dorky together.
Yeah.
And they're awkward with each other, but they also find the moments to like have absolute hilarity and laugh at something.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Right? And that's what I love. And like even specific bits are filmed like a rom-com, because there's that bit at the market where they're talking about how they met and all that stuff. And she's walking in front of the table and he's walking behind it with like all the stuff in the middle. And like even that is filmed, and they're walking slow, and like they're kind of just putting like one foot in front of the other and like kind of just tiptoeing across. And like it's filmed so much like how a rom-com scene is filmed like that. Yeah. Like when the two characters are getting to know each other, and like, you know, obviously these two already know each other, but they're reminiscing. Yeah. I love that so much. And then even the bit under the tree where they're just like super like
totally
dorky. Awkward, like dorky with each other. It's so cute.
Yeah.
And that's what I love. Like their relationship. It's like, yes, there's the steamy carriage scene, which we're going to talk about in a second, because we have to specifically talk about the carriage scene. But like, and yes, it's steamy and it's super sexy and like all this stuff, but they also have the hilarity and like the ease of.
They're comfortable with each other.
They're comfortable.
You know, there's a level of comfort with each other, which is interesting because usually it's them and and Eloise, right? But if you notice, there was a lot more of, and it kind of struck me as we were watching it again. There were quite a few times in season 2 where it was just Colin and Penelope. It wasn't the three of them. Yeah. Which I think was a really good sort of like way. Yeah, it was a purposeful way of making it more. What's the word? Making it more familiar to us, the viewer, and perhaps people around them. That these two do stand and chat with each other. Yeah, it's not this weird thing to see Colin standing and chatting with Penelope Featherington. Yeah, you know, and people comment on it as well. So I think I liked that. Yeah. But I think, like one of the ways that I really enjoy is the way that they've handled their storyline overall. Because in the book, it doesn't follow the whole "let me find you a husband" trope. Yeah. I really liked it. I was a bit nervous about that, but I actually really like it.
Yeah, because they did it in a way that there's not too much focus on it still.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like, oh, let's find you a husband and like every scene is gonna focus on like a lesson or whatever. And like, yes, there's a lesson, but if you notice, the lessons are just them flirting with each
Pretty
other.
much, yeah.
Like, it's
pretty
just
much
them talking.
Yeah.
And like, it's not even like he's like, okay, now you have to do this and you have to do this and like da 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 da, and like he starts off that way, but it never ends up actually happening. So that's
which is so good, because you get to see them like spending time with each other.
Yeah.
And it's almost like, you know, because they have to like kind of sneak around a little bit, because she can't necessarily be seen with a eligible suitor. Yeah. Right. So I really do like the way that they've handled it, because you get to see them spending time as a couple. Now, you could say that it's similar to Simon and Daphne, but I don't think that is similar, because in Simon and Daphne's case, they pretended to court each other, whereas in this, that's not what they're doing. Yeah. It's completely different. Plus, I think that the way that they've done it reveals a lot about mostly Colin. Yes. You know, because like, I guess this is like we can get into like specifics a little bit. Yeah. Is when he first comes back, we see him flirting with the ladies. Yeah. You know, he's winking at them and like talking to them. He's repeating. Yeah. Like a very rehearsrsed. Yeah. Lines of like, oh, my travels was you'd swoon, or I'd have to marry you. Yeah. Oh, lovely. What does he say? Like, you bloom like blooming flowers. Blooming flowers. Like, okay, calm down, Colin. You're being a bit cheesy. Yeah. But it makes sense, because he's trying to kind of like fit this image of this pirate, you know, this swashbuckling, like very
and then
suave.
Even when you see him by himself with ladies of the night.
Oh yeah.
Like
it's a persona.
Again,
that's not
it's a persona,
the real him.
Because that's not him.
Yeah.
Like even in season 1, Anthony's like, maybe I should have taken you to more brothels. Well, there you go. Anthony's going by himself, isn't he?
Because he's so naive and he's so sweet.
Yeah.
You know, like he's romantic.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's the thing. Like, we get to see him in season 1. He's romantic.
Yes,
like he
much.
falls for Marina. Like, he really does. And he's got this like heart of like this, what's the word? He kind of like Violet sort of says to him, like, you think of other people and you always help.
You have a sensitive soul.
Like he kind of is like happy to help. Yeah. You know, happy to help.
He always puts other people before himself. Yeah. And that's not always a good thing.
Yeah. And I like that in season 1, we get to see him with Marina. Yeah. Which is, you know, you get to see, yes, a very naive side of him, because he does get tricked a little bit. But at the end, you also get to see when he tells Marina that, you know, if you had just said to me, I would have married you. Yeah. Like, I would have still married you.
Yeah.
To,
if
like,
you had been
help
honest
you.
with me. Yeah.
If you had been honest. And I think that is amazing. Yeah. That is amazing. And
it's not like he would have told anyone else. He would have kept that to himself.
Exactly.
But it's just that he would have wanted to know.
He would have wanted to know. So I think, but he's telling that to Marina. Yeah. Because he wants her to know that, look, his feelings were real. Yeah. You know? So I think seeing him like that, being vulnerable. Season 2, he's a little bit meh. But season 2, we still get to see him, you know, figuring out what's going on with the Featheringtons. Yeah. He's the one that sort of catches Jack out. Yeah. So you can see that he actually is there to protect people, and he wants to help people, and, you know, all of that sort of stuff. Yeah. Which, to be honest, you don't really get to see in the books. Yeah. So I really do like this show version of Colin. Yeah. I do like him. Yeah. So yeah, I really like that. What else would you consider like really, really good?
That was good. I really am liking the subplots. Like, a lot of people are like, no, it's not that great. I like the subplots because as they was like have said, this is very much an ensemble show. Yes. Like, yes, there's no, I wouldn't say there's a leading couple. There's just a couple in focus. Yes. More so than,
I agree.
You know, the rest of the cast or whatever of each season. So, I mean, yes, it would be great to have more Colin and Penelope, but let's face it, we've gotten more Colin and Penelope than we got Kate and Anthony.
Absolutely, because we've been getting Colin and Penelope since season 1.
Exactly. We've gotten, not just that, we've gotten more in the these 4 episodes of them than we got of Kate and Anthony in their first episode.
I agree.
So yeah, so the subplots are really good because we get to see like different things happening with everybody. Like we've got Francesca and like her dealing with the marriage mart and like, you know, like how to go about being in the ton. Like she hasn't done it before. She's coming out and this is her first season.
And let's face it, Daphne's not there.
And Daphne's not there to help her.
Is a glaring thing that we're all noticing that she's not there
on their part.
Can you imagine how much better it would be for Daphne to sort of help her and guide her? Because she couldn't do that with Eloise.
Exactly.
You know, so at least she could help one of her sisters.
Exactly. So, and then, you know, her meeting John. She's already met John Sterling. Yeah. And that is a great setup as well. And I'm very like, it's going to be heartbreaking when we get to the pic. I know. But like, it's great setup already for her. And
I think what they've done with her is, I think it's so good that they've actually, I love John Sterling.
Yeah.
In this. I have not read Francesca's book.
Yeah.
So I will be reading Francesca's book. I haven't read it yet. But, because I've heard really good things about it. I really like this John Sterling. I think he is so sweet. I think, oh man, when he goes and rushes off and gets to that music, that is so romantic.
That was so nice, yeah.
That is so romantic. Like, I think they have this really solid, like they have the potential to form this really solid foundation of a marriage based in like comfort and peace and friendship and maybe not overly passionate. Yeah. But I don't think every relationship has to be. You know, but there's this deep love. Yeah. And understanding and companionship. I think that is beautiful.
Yeah, that's great.
Because she's going to get the passion from Michael. Right? And that's
believe
fine.
Me, she's going to get the passion from Michael.
So I think they have to save something for Michael, right? Yeah. So I really like that. And I think what they're doing, because they've already introduced him, I think when she loses him, it's even going to be even more devastating. You know, especially for us, the audience. Yeah. It's like because we're getting to know Michael, John. Yeah. You know, so I'm really looking forward. I shouldn't say I'm looking forward to his death.
I'm looking forward to his death.
You know, him dying.
Oh my God, that's awful. But yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be so much more like affecting. Yeah. You know, effective.
So that's good setup. Then we've got Violet going through, following through on the thread from Queen Charlotte of like, garden is in bloom.
But didn't you say something? You said that this is one storyline.
Well, I'm coming to it. Jesus, come on. So we've got that, right? Of like her possibly having some kind of flirtation with Lady Danbury's brother, of all people. I mean, he's a very good-looking man, but it's all a bit messy, isn't it?
Yeah. True.
Like Lady Danbury slept with Violet's dad.
I know.
And now it's like, Violet could possibly sleep with Lady Danbury's brother.
Goodness.
Like, oh my God, it's so weird. But anyway, so we've got that. Then we've got the Monriches.
I am loving the Monrich plotline.
Incredible. Oh my God, they're so good.
I will be honest. Like, I loved them in season 1. Yeah. Great. Because they were Simon's friends, right?
Yeah.
I felt like in season 2, they were a little bit of like,
not much happened with them.
We don't know what to do with them, right? Yeah. But I really like
season 3,
them at this point because they're showing, it's kind of like that idea of world building. They're building this world of Bridgerton. Yeah. We're getting a new family. And the way that they come in is, I like what, I think his name's Will. Yeah. Will says that, his wife says, or Will says it. I can't remember exactly, where he says, well, this is how many of the lords got their position, by doing nothing. You know, like it was bestowed on them. Yeah. And that's kind of what's happened to their son. Yeah. So, and through their son, them. Yeah. And I really like seeing this new family coming into society who have previously been working class, and now they have to navigate this new world that they've been put into. Yeah. You know, so I think it's going to be fascinating, and I really am looking forward to seeing, and we've already seen a little bit of it, seeing what's the wife's name?
Alice.
Seeing Alice and Lady Danbury bond a little bit.
Yes,
we've already seen her do that.
Yeah.
So it would be lovely to see Lady Danbury take Alice under her wing, because if you think about it, this is what happened with Lady Danbury as well. They were made nobility after the Queen, after Queen Charlotte, right?
Yeah.
In fact, at the start of Queen Charlotte, I don't think they were nobles.
Barely, yeah.
Yeah, they were like rich landowners, but that was it.
Yeah.
You know, they got their titles. Oh, no, I think they got the title, but there was no... she was worried about her son, remember? She was like, will this title be passed on to our sons?
To our sons, yeah.
That was the whole thing.
Yeah.
So I think that's a really amazing sort of like way to track how far they've come.
Yeah.
So I love the Mondrian
storyline.
I'm hoping, and this is where the key of the Mondrian storyline is, if they keep this up, that they don't just become useless after this.
Yeah.
You know? I would really like to see a friendship develop between Colin with the Mondriches and Benedict and the Mondriches.
Yeah. Yeah, like all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we've already seen Colin.
Their interactions with each other.
Yeah, they interact with each other.
Good, but like they could go more.
Yeah, like they're humorous and they're friendly. Yeah. They're very friendly, in fact.
Yeah.
So I would really like to see that.
Basically, because like Simon was a duke and he was so much in their life, and you know, it was incredible.
Yeah.
So for them to do that as well would be
amazing. I mean, it would be better if Simon was there. It would be
better if Simon was there, but
he's not.
But he's not.
And Daphne's not there.
And Daphne's not there by extension, which is just
crap.
Dumb. But anyway, as I was saying, so these are all like these storylines that are going on. I feel like the storyline that is probably going to be dropped is Violet's storyline.
Probably.
And that is only because it seems like it's the most expendable at this point.
Most likely.
Because it just feels like, and I don't know that it'll necessarily go down the route of her garden being fully watered.
Oh, jeez.
Just because I don't know. I don't know why I feel this. Because I mean, she's a woman. She can do absolutely whatever she wants. She's not tied by anything. So she can have her fun. That's not the problem. But I just don't know that they'll do anything with it. You know? So
I know, because realistically, where can it go? Because she's already had the love of her life. Yeah. You know, like I feel like if she falls in love with someone, I think that's a betrayal to Edmund. I don't
not necessarily a betrayal, but it's just like
not a betrayal, but
how is this person going to fit in
with the Bridgertons?
With the Bridgertons, how is he going to navigate adult children already? Who
especially
I don't know
Bridgerton children who can be very
accept this, you know, like
who their father was beloved.
Yeah,
you know?
It's a very difficult situation. Yeah. So that's why I'm like, if she just has her fun.
I'm happy with that.
That's good.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
You know? So, because I don't know that it'll necessarily go anywhere.
Yeah, I don't think so.
But yeah, I think everybody's just got a good story this season.
Okay, so what are some criticisms from you? And then I want to address like some of the stuff that we've heard on the grapevine and on the socials and all of that stuff.
I feel like I don't have many criticisms yet, only because it is just the first.
True, it's not finished yet. Yeah.
So the people are like, "Oh, not this and this." I'm like, guys, it's only been just 4 episodes. Just wait. Like, you know, we don't have that luxury that we did last season.
Exactly.
The season before. So I don't know. It's a criticism, but it's also not, because I don't much care for this ongoing thing of the Featheringtons. I specifically Prudence and Philippa. Right? I don't much care for it. Yeah. Because there's only so many times you can have the same sort of thing being said. Yeah. And it still having an impact, right? So they are both trying to get pregnant. They're both trying to have a male heir, though. Yeah. To then pass on the estate to the male heir, and him being Lord Featherington when the time comes. Okay, fine. There are some really hilarious bits, which is the bit which is the part where I mean it's not half bad. That's what I mean. Yeah. I genuinely guffaw when Portia, Lady Featherington, is saying a woman's pleasure is
yes,
different.
that is so funny.
Because when a man inserts himself, and Philippa just goes, inserts himself?
Where?
Inserts himself where? And she goes, what have you and Mr. Finch been doing? He's like, well, we kiss.
Oh my gosh.
Too good.
That bit is very funny.
And then, but like, Brennan's going, the bridges stay on. Oh my God. And then Portia turning around and just going, why must I be punished?
Oh my gosh.
Oh, it's
but
too
once
good.
again, I think that's a great scene because
it's brilliant.
Very similar to when Daphne gets married and Violet has to explain.
Yeah.
She does a horrible job of explaining it.
So
right? So it's like
so
these
bad.
poor women had no idea.
Yeah.
So on one hand, it is hilarious. I was having this conversation with a work friend of mine, and she loves Bridgerton as well, and she hadn't seen season 3 yet.
Yeah.
She was waiting for her husband to be out of the house.
Yeah.
She watched
Yeah, your husband should be out of the house when we're talking about all of this.
No, but seriously, like she basically brought this up. She goes, the reason why she liked Bridgerton was to see what the women were going through and like, you know.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I really liked about this because it's done in a very funny way.
Yeah.
But you do feel bad for her as well. Because it's like, well, her mother didn't explain anything to her.
Just so gloriously
So this poor
dumb,
woman's
though.
trying to have a baby and she has no idea how a baby is made.
Yeah.
But it does offer
I would
comic
never
relief.
sacrifice that bit for anything. That is
That's
brilliant.
brilliant.
But we can scale it back.
Yes, I agree. I do agree there.
Then we can fill in more of like Kate and Anthony.
Yes, I agree.
Now I do understand that Johnny and Simone were both off doing
other stuff,
multiple projects.
That's fine,
and that's okay.
That's okay.
As long as they can be in a few scenes, I'm
just
fine
clone
with that.
them.
But we can then we all get a clone of him.
That's funny.
Yes, please. Oh my God, he's just a stunning man. But like of the plots that are more important and more, considering this show is called Bridgerton.
I know. Can we have more Bridgertons, please?
We need more Bridgertons. We need the Viscount and Viscountess Bridgerton.
Yes.
To be a little bit more involved.
I
be
agree.
like sprinkled in. Like, I'm not saying
not every episode.
Every
Doesn't
episode.
have to be there, yeah.
But like they were in episode 1. I guess they're only now going to be in episode 5 or whatever. So it could have been like 1, 3, 5, 7. That's it. Like,
And
that's
the
all
end.
we need. And then maybe the end.
Yeah.
Maybe like one scene in the end. But like it just like we have to like scatter the storylines better.
I think, and that's a good point because I think we were just having this conversation and I was like, well, it's called the Bridgertons, firstly.
Yeah.
Not the Featheringtons.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's called the Bridgertons, firstly. We would like to see, like, I don't like what has happened to Daphne because we don't see her anymore. She is a Bridgerton still, yet we don't get to see her. And I feel cheated because the show is about all 7 siblings, right? And their mother. It's not about just the person whose romance is in focus at that point, right? There's a lot happening. So I feel like once their love story is done, so what are they done with the show? Like I think that's not fair because by the end of it, what, only Gregory's going to be left? Yeah. Or like how boring is that going to be? Like, I'm sorry, but part of the fun is to see how they all interact with each other. They're all so unhinged and just they're so nuts. I love it, you know?
Yeah.
So like we have to have that.
And like there are so many important bits in the books that Daphne was involved for,
or
Anthony was involved for,
or
Kate is involved.
Exactly.
So, you know, yes, we're not going fully with the books. That's fine. But maybe we have to find if you want this to be a different, fresher version, then find different, fresher ways
of
to
doing that.
Involve them.
Yeah, I agree. Well, someone like one of the things like you always think of like, okay, Gregory, for instance, right? He fell in love. Like his love story is because, like, or rather, because he hasn't seen his parents being in love. For the oldest Bridgertons, it was like their parents were the model, right?
Yeah.
But for the younger Bridgertons, it was Kate and Anthony.
Yeah.
So if they don't see them, then how do they know what love is for them? Yeah. Or what their families, right? I mean, that could be a very long, drawn out sort of thing.
And look, maybe it is just because there was so much going on for both of them, for Johnny and Simone.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
could only do this much.
Absolutely.
That's okay. I'm not saying that. But there is more to their roles.
Well, just because they got married it doesn't end everything, right? Being married is hard. Kate and Anthony are not easy people to live with.
No.
Right?
No.
We've seen that. I think it would be nice. Yes, I know it's a romance, it's a fairy tale.
Yeah.
But I would really like to say it. I don't want to see them in strife. No. But I would like to see them adjust to each other.
Adjust and to have like the marital fights that married
I would
people
love
have.
to see like a bit of a squabble between them, you know?
With Simon and Daphne, they were so much in like angst even after they were married that their fighting was not actually like a married daily squabble. It was actually like, oh my god, what the hell is going to happen? Are they going to actually not end up together?
Okay, so I'm going to give you an example. You know how when Death Comes to Pemberley came, right? Yeah. So I don't know if anyone's watched this, but it's quite popular. People have liked it.
Yeah.
I loved Death Comes to Pemberley because we get to see Elizabeth and Darcy 10 years after being married.
Yeah,
they've got a son. Pride and Prejudice. Yeah, they've been married for 10 years. They've got a son. And they're just living daily life.
Yeah.
And they are, Darcy yells in the house and everyone's laughing because it's like, that's just how he is.
Yeah.
Right? He gets annoyed.
And then even when everything that happens in it there's a bit of a mystery, murder mystery situation
the
going
interaction
on.
between Darcy and Elizabeth, like what they're like,
gets very tense.
Yeah.
And I think that's really great.
It's good to see that.
Because then she's also doubting, like, did he make the right decision?
Exactly. Like, am I the right wife for him? You know? Yeah.
Like, it's
10 years down the track.
10 years down the track.
So not everything is hunky dory, you know?
Exactly.
So I think it's nice to see those things.
Yeah. Maybe next year things will be different. I hope it's just the thing of maybe. Look, the Daphne situation is different. I think she really should have been in season 3.
Yeah, she should have.
Even just like a couple of scenes.
Yeah.
It was like just how she did season 2.
Yeah. And recast Simon, for God's sake. I think we're all happy
Simon.
for that.
We would like, okay, people would be like, oh, you know, everybody still loves Reggae John Page. But man's forgotten about us, okay?
He really has. But
so
I'm happy with someone else.
Yeah, I'm happy with someone else if he's still got... You know, if he's got the acting chops to do it, great.
Or if you don't want to recast, then get Daphne back
and just tell us he's dead. I don't care.
Oh my god, maybe.
My friend was literally maybe. My headcanon is that he just died.
No. So instead of Francesca becoming the widow, maybe it's Daphne.
Maybe it's Daphne.
And then Daphne will get like even a better romance after that.
No.
Nah.
Anyway. But
but yeah, like,
yes,
yeah,
I think
get that.
That's you. We have to, you know, bring the plot lines through a bit more smoother. You know,
I think,
and that's really it. I think everything.
Well, we haven't talked about Eloise and Cressida.
Look, that's a bad in the sense of like.
I think that's not a bad yet.
Yeah, it's not a bad yet. It could become a bad if the situation changes.
Yes. I think you brought up a good point about Cressida being the bully, and she's slowly, from what we've seen so far, she's getting a little bit of a redemption arc.
Yeah.
Why is that a problem?
That is a problem because if the redemption arc happens, and this is coming from someone who has been bullied in the past by white women, I'll say. I should say girls because I was in high school, but still. Yeah. Well, before that too. It's a problem if this redemption happens without an apology.
Yeah.
And I mean like a proper genuine
heartfelt
apology of like, I am so sorry for what I've done. I promise I will work on myself. Yeah. I will never do this again.
Because we've seen the potential for her to change and to work on herself, because she has the ability to recognize that she has done things in the past that have not been good.
Yeah.
Because she said that to Eloise. Yeah. And she even says to Eloise, well, I think you need to have a mirror in front of you because you are not that great either.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that's a great bit for Eloise.
Yeah.
So I agree there. I think the redemption has to
mean
something.
Yeah.
But I have this feeling that's not going to happen.
I have a feeling that's not going to happen. And if it doesn't happen, then Eloise really has to like check herself and be like, this is not someone that I can have in my life.
Yeah.
Because she's exactly the same person that she was even before we became friends. Yeah. When we were friends for this period of time, she tried, but she's not succeeded. Yeah. And I need to cut her off.
You can't be with someone that cruel.
Be with someone who is that cruel.
Yeah.
Because if she doesn't apologize for the things that she's done, she's done some horrible things. Yeah, I can't. It doesn't sit well with me.
I think the whole Eloise and Penelope thing, I think I would put this in the good because I like the way that they're handling it.
Yeah.
So far. Yeah. I really liked, because I initially, when I saw the trailer, I was like, oh no.
God, yeah. It was
Eloise
really
is going to be a mean girl. She's not going to be nice to Penelope. I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But the minute we see them the first time on screen after the big fight,
the way they look at each other,
the yearning that they both have
to
just run to each other and give each other a hug.
Yeah.
They're just dying to spend time together, and they're both holding themselves back.
Yeah.
You know, like, I think Penelope is a bit more open.
Yeah.
Because when Eloise comes to the house, Penelope's like, oh, I've got some books. Do you want to come and have a look? And Eloise is like, no, I'm going to leave.
Yeah.
Because I feel like Eloise does have that ability to kind of like harden herself.
Yeah.
But even then, she's just, you can see that she wants to be with Eloise, with Pen. Yeah. Because, like, you know, where they're talking about the embroidery and when they're talking about like things like that, you can see that she kind of misses her conversations with Eloise.
Yeah.
With Penelope. And I've always had this thing where I love Eloise, but I've also, like, maybe it comes with a bit of, you know, as an adult viewing her.
Yeah.
I feel like someone said, oh, she's such a mean girl. I was like, she's always been a mean girl.
Yeah.
So that doesn't bother me because that's who she is. She's not mean per se. It's like she lacks the sensitivity. Harsh, She's harsh, right? Yeah. I would like to see some soft edges in her now.
Yeah.
I like how decisive she is. Or sometimes she can be a bit indecisive, but I like that she has a different mind. I like how she looks at society. It's very different.
Yeah.
And because she is in a position where women didn't really go out and get jobs. Like someone said, oh, if she, you know, finds everything so stifling, why can't she just go get a job? No, it didn't work that way.
That's not how it works.
But I did like at the end when Penelope says, you're jealous because, I don't know what she says, but she says, at least I did something.
Yeah.
I want Penelope.
I actually did something and you can't stand it.
And you can't stand it.
Yeah.
I think Eloise needs to have that realization that she needs to do something.
Yeah.
Whether that doing something is to write, whether it's to, you know, become a scholar. There were women who did stuff like that.
Did read and study and
They studied. There were women who were scientists.
Yeah.
You know, like she is lucky enough to be from a family where they have the money, where they have, you know, something. And I feel like that could connect her storyline to Philip really well. You know?
Yeah.
Instead of what the books did, which is like they're exchanging letters to each other. I'm like, that's a bit lame.
That's a bit stupid. Yeah.
But can you imagine if she kind of got into something that would be really interesting and kind of relates to that field?
That is the way that I could get on board with the Philip storyline.
Right?
If they changed him a little bit too.
I think they would.
I hope they do.
I think they would.
I hope they do a lot of changes to that book.
I think they will have to. Yeah. But yeah, so I feel like Eloise...
I think that's a better connection.
I feel like Eloise needs a lot more work.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that after this season, let's see what she's like in part 2.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping after this season we get those softer edges where she's starting to understand her privileged position in society, because I don't think she gets it yet.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Because see, now she's not friends with Penelope anymore.
Yeah.
She's friends with Cressida, and now she's starting to see Cressida's life a little bit.
Yeah.
So now she's seeing two girls who are different to her.
Yeah.
Who do not have the same freedoms and privileges that she has.
Yeah.
These two girls, they come from families where they are very oppressed.
Yeah.
Penelope, because, you know, she was never good enough.
Yeah.
She didn't look right. You know, all of that stuff. And bullied by her family.
Yeah.
Eloise, Cressida, her father is pressuring her. Like, her home is so depressing and dark.
Oh my God,
and,
the house is so oppressive.
Yeah, so clearly financially abusive, because what does her mom say? Oh, he's halving our allowance, right?
Yeah, we'll have to wear these dresses again,
and
probably.
She's being forced to marry an old man.
Yeah.
Eloise doesn't have that. So I'm hoping that after this experience, whether she's friends or not with Cressida, I hope she realizes the position she's in.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
You know? Okay, so I think we should kind of address a few criticisms that people have had.
Which aren't necessarily criticisms, but okay.
Yeah, like, I want to address them because I feel like they're not criticisms. Yeah. So the first one was, and this pissed me off a little bit, was when, and this is probably the biggest one.
Yeah.
Penelope asking Colin to kiss her.
Yes.
As being like, oh, she's such a loser. Like,
she's a loser.
Why
it's
would
pathetic.
You do that? That's
it's
pathetic.
Desperate.
That is horrible. And this is where we should get into like a bit more like the romantic bits, I think.
Yeah.
But I think, like, firstly, I don't think that's true.
That's absolutely not true. It's the exact opposite of what that scene is about.
Right?
It is literally the polar opposite of what that scene represents. That scene is so powerful because she is at her most vulnerable state at that point. Yeah. Because people in the town have found out that Colin's helping her find a husband. Oh my God, it's a scandal because how dare an eligible bachelor of the town help her. Yeah. Right? And so basically, as Lady Whistledown, she has to write it. And because otherwise it would have been suspicious. We'll get to that. Like, no, actually, no. We'll get to it now.
Do it now.
That is, you know what's suspicious, Penelope? You saying that.
And Colin's too dumb to understand it.
Oh, God. He only has, like, one brain cell. But anyway. So that has all happened. She's written about it because, you know, would have been obvious otherwise, apparently. And now she's at that point where she doesn't know what to do.
And let's not forget, Portia's kind of come up to her and be like, what's wrong with you?
What's wrong with you?
Yeah, be realistic.
Why are you doing this? Be realistic. Life of being unmarried is not that bad. And da-da-da-da-da. And she's going on and on and on. And she sees Colin and basically he comes to say, I just wanted to check on you, all this stuff. And then she basically asks him to kiss her because she says that I don't want to die tomorrow and never having been kissed. Die tomorrow and never having been kissed. I don't want to go through the next however long not knowing what that feels like. I'm not asking anything else of you. I'm not asking for marriage. I'm not asking for love.
No expectations.
No expectations. She has zero expectations at that point. She is at her most vulnerable and she is asking someone who she trusts without a doubt to do this for her. And the best part about all of that is that Colin never once says no. Yeah. He never once says no. He says stuff like, you know, when she says, I could die tomorrow.
He's like, you're not going to die.
He's like, you're not going to die tomorrow. And she's like, it would kill me. And he's like, but you'd already be dead.
Like, that's such a funny sort of like, you know, he's trying to make her laugh almost.
Bit funny, but it's also that reassurance, like, you will be fine. You'll be okay. Yeah. Don't worry about this. Nothing's going to happen to you. And it's sort of that thing of like, because he's always said, I will always take care of you. I will always look after you. It's that thing of, I'll be there. Don't worry. You'll be fine. But then he realizes that she's so like, he realizes that she's so sad and upset that he's like, okay, I'll do it, you know? And then they kiss and it's like, it's such a beautiful, like I cried.
Oh, I cried as well.
I just had tears streaming down my eyes.
I cried. That was sad.
It was so beautiful. And nothing about that is pathetic or sad or
not
whatever.
At all.
It's literally asking someone who you trust to just help you in a moment that you're vulnerable.
I think it was probably the bravest thing to ever do. Like, because if you think about it, she would have never asked anybody else. Nobody.
Nor could she. Yeah. Because this is proper society. She couldn't ask just any random.
And even if she had become slightly well acknowledged, would say someone like Debling, right?
Yeah. She can't ask that of him. She doesn't know him.
She doesn't know him. well enough. She knows Colin. They've known each other since children. There's that familiarity between the two of them. And we've seen that. You know, they giggle with each other. They laugh with each other. They have that comfortability. They can talk to each other.
Yeah.
And she asks him to kiss her. And what I loved about the whole scene is that Colin, at that moment, like we've already kind of established, Colin will help you.
Yeah.
And in that moment, he's like, okay, I'm going to do this because I'm going to help her.
Yeah.
And he's watching her plead. Because I remember in the books, they've done this in the book, and I loved it in the book as well.
Yeah.
And he's watching her, and he just cannot believe why she would have to beg for something like this.
Yeah.
Because he's like, what? And so when he kisses her, that's when his brain chemistry changes completely and his mind explodes.
And that's when all of our brain chemistries change too.
Right? Because for her, she follows through on the whole,
I don't want
anything from you. She kisses him, says thank you and leaves.
Yeah.
He kind of loses his marbles after
he gets that, you know, I compare it to like when people have like just like those, what are those round things
Rainbow
in the desert
wheels?
No, those round things in the desert. Tumbleweeds.
Tumbleweeds,
that are
yeah.
just like
his brain's just stopped.
It's just that. That or like the cow playing the banjo. That ding, 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 just like that's it. Like that's it.
Oh,
that's all that's in his brain at that point.
I feel like that's so much more a girl boss move because like everyone's like, oh, she's so pathetic. I'm like, I don't think she's pathetic because she basically asked him to kiss her, kissed him, said thank you, walked off. The next day to see each other. He's dreamed of her, by the way. I don't think she's dreamed of him because if she had, we would have seen it.
She's seen it. We can believe that Penelope has dreamed of Colin in the past.
Oh, of course.
Right?
But maybe not right now.
But maybe not right now. She's got other pursuits.
But Colin's dreamed of her. So he's woken up feeling very out of sorts and very weird.
He can't even talk to Benedict.
Exactly. Benedict's like, are you okay?
All right?
And he's like just like mumbling and like fumbling and just... He's just out of sorts.
Is like, oh, you know, I slept rather well, and like, oh, when my head hit the pillow, I went straight into darkness. Blah, blah, blah. And Ben's just like, congratulations.
Like, what do you want from me? Right?
Like,
so Colin is the one that kind of is like, oh, hang on a minute, something has happened here.
Yeah.
Whereas Penelope is kind of gone, okay, and that kind of goes to show that she literally never expected anything from it.
Yeah.
Because she knows that I am not the type of person Colin will go for.
Yeah.
Right? But she is.
Yeah.
She always has been.
She always has been.
Because if you look at, I think, is it in that particular scene? Is it in that scene? Where he says, I seek you out in every social engagement.
No, it's just before that when he...
oh, yeah, because just before that
Yeah.
as well. So this is like the first time she's changed her look and she has a little Cinderella moment. She's walking down the stairs and all of that. And of course, Colin clocks her.
Yeah. He says it when he makes the thing of like, I'll help you.
Yeah, when they make the deal. But essentially, that's the other bit where, you know, when Colin sort of... And I guess this is where my next thing comes in, where there's been more criticism about Colin not groveling enough.
Oh my god.
Right? So they're like, we need a grovel. And I'm like...
No, he apologized in the scene in the garden.
Yeah, and I think like, this is the thing. So in romance... I see a lot of reviews when, you know, the male character hasn't groveled enough. He hasn't cried and despaired and, you know, beaten his chest and on his knees and just like, you know, whatever. I don't think you need that. Like, it depends.
Yeah.
Right?
Depends on what they've done, too.
Now, if it was someone like Simon.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not Simon. Maybe Anthony. Book Anthony.
Yeah. Book Anthony, yeah.
Book Anthony needed a grovel.
Yeah. A little bit.
A lot.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Book Anthony needed to grovel. Then maybe. I don't think Colin needed to do that because what he did, if you actually watch the bit, so at the end of the first ball, which is Danbury's ball, Penelope leaves in tears, her dress is ripped, and Colin follows her.
Yeah.
Concerned, like, I don't think she looks well, and he walks off. And that's when she confronts him and she says,
she's like,
I heard what you said.
Yeah.
And as soon as she says that, his face kind of drops. And he's
You're
like... You're
concerned for me, but you would never court me.
Right?
You know? Like,
and if you notice...
I embarrass you.
If you notice, just before that, he's trying to be a little bit charming with her. Oh, your charming dress. He's putting on the face that he did with the girls, right? Yeah. The minute she says, I heard what you said, and like blah, blah, blah.
And my mama's ball last year.
His face changes.
Yeah.
And he's just like, oh my God. And he can't get an word in edgewise because she's not letting him.
She's not letting him, which is great. Yeah.
Right? Great. But then he seeks her out the following day.
Yeah. And he
apologizes. And he says, don't say that. Like when she says, oh, I'm a pathetic. No, that was at the kiss. Yeah. But anyway, like he really, and he says, he goes, I seek you out.
Yeah.
At social engagements because you're warm and I feel something with you.
Yeah.
Don't. And she's like, oh, you're embarrassed of me. And he goes, I am not. Like,
yeah. I would never be ashamed
of you. I would never be ashamed of you. Like, I think that is so much more heartfelt
than him going, please forgive me.
Please
shut
forgive
up.
Me. No.
I'd be like, you are pathetic right now.
I don't need your drama.
Yeah.
I need you to be sincere in your words and mean what you say.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I think that is so much more powerful.
Yeah, because even up until this point, he always says stuff to like reassure Penn that, you know, things are okay with them. Like he's like, you will always be special to me. You are, you know, you're important to me, and da da da. Like this has happened over like season 1 and 2, and then even in this, he's like, you know, I'm not ashamed of you.
Yeah,
you're Penelope Featherington. Never forget
he's
that.
Constantly like affirming her
and lifting her up.
Absolutely,
and that is just as important as him.
Absolutely,
you know?
I think it's so good.
Yeah,
and the other thing I wanted to kind of talk about was I'm just trying to have a look at my list. I think we kind of talked a little bit about that. Yeah, so I think going on with that, also the whole Collins change is very like, people were criticizing him like the way he was talking, and you know, and I'm just like, haven't you watched the whole show like at least 3 times at this point, like 4 episodes, like we
like
have.
Us? Yeah.
That act that he's putting on is gone after episode 1.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
It's gone.
Yes.
And then we get to see parts of it. Like there's a bit where when, you know, the lessons are happening.
Yeah.
And she comes to Bridgerton House, which again I think is so sweet because she says, you know, my comfortable place was to come to Bridgerton House, and he arranges for her to come.
Yeah.
And you know, she finds his journal. And she starts reading his journal. And what does it say in the journal? He's talking about being with all these women, yet being...
There is an intimacy, but yet there is distance.
He's talking about being lonely.
Yeah.
And then we see that with... Not so much the first scene where he's with the, you know, ladies of the night. But definitely in the second one.
Yeah.
We get to see him. He's trying to sort of forget about the whole Penelope thing. And he's like, okay, let's go out. Let's revel.
Yeah.
You know? And he goes out with these 2 ladies. And he doesn't participate, and he's not interested.
He's not even really watching
them. He's so distant. Yeah. He's like, his mind's not there.
Yeah.
Which I was like, thank God.
Yeah. His mind is on Penelope.
Yeah, like he's not thinking. And then when the men are all sitting together and bragging about their exploits.
Yeah.
He literally is like, well, don't you think like it's stupid for us to make jokes about something that's so important in life, which is love and companionship?
Don't you get tired of it?
And they kind of like make
they
fun
laugh
of him.
At him. Yeah.
And his face is a bit like...
So he goes home and sulks.
He's a little bit like... he goes back to being like season 1 Colin.
Yeah.
So you get to see that romantic side come out again. And you really get to see him ponder and think about what is his life without Penelope.
Yeah.
Or really companionship and love and friendship. Yeah. And that's when he has that conversation with Violet, who's very smart.
Oh my God. Violet Bridgerton. Oh. Give it up for Violet Bridgerton.
Beautiful. Wonderful mother.
Amazing.
I think she's so good. And I really like that little conversation when he comes down from the stairs. Penelope's about to be proposed to.
Yeah.
And she basically says before that, when they're having the conversation, and he says, how do you know that, how did you and father, or something about the parents.
Do you believe that friendship
can be love?
Yeah, can be love. And she says, yes, father and I started like that, blah, blah, blah.
But you have to have the courage to ask.
And then he's like, but how do you do that? And she's like, he merely had the courage to ask. And he literally walks across that dance floor and is about to, and he is so close to Penelope at that point. He's like inappropriate, basically, because like,
and the way he's staring at her,
I'm like, is this man about to kiss her in the middle?
Yeah, he literally looks like he's going to like kiss her in front of everybody. And he's
like, there's a question I need to ask you, and then Devlin steps in.
But I love how Violet's been used.
She sees
strategically.
She sees Devlin take Penelope across to the dance floor, and she looks back at Colin.
Yeah.
brilliant.
Yeah, it's so good. And like the way she kind of like puts these ideas in his head, because she's been observing this for years at this point.
Yeah.
She knows Penelope is in love with Colin. Yeah. She knows that. I think you're an idiot if you don't know.
Yeah, like when she says you've always been a sensitive person, and I admire that about you. But, you know, you have to be careful not to use that armor and let it rust. Like you put that sensitivity up as an armor to not care about yourself, but then you have to be careful that it doesn't rust and fall away. So and then she says that thing about Penelope will probably get proposed to tonight and all this stuff, and he's like, my head is bottle weary. And she's like, I do hope you feel better, with like the most suggestive smile.
Yeah, you better come.
She's like, you better move your ass.
Yep. Like, get off your butt.
Get off your butt. Colin.
So I really love that. And then of course, you know, the scene with Penelope and Debling dancing, and Debling's about to propose.
Oof. And he interrupts.
And then Colin interrupts, which is like,
God,
no, what are you doing?
Don't do that.
What are you doing? So I think that bit, of course, and they're having that conversation, which then leads to the carriage scene. But before the carriage scene, I think a very important bit that we have to talk about is Penelope and Portia.
Yes.
Which I am like a bit nervous about because it's like, so far we've seen Portia, who by the way this season I'm loving. She's so funny. But like at the same time, she's very much like, oh, you need to be securing the engagement and this and that, blah blah. But now that Debling's kind of gone, no, sorry, not happening. Because I know you're in love with someone else. Portia immediately is like, what did you do?
Yeah, what have you done? And she's like,
what have you done?
Is that your question? Not am I well?
So that's the first time you see Portia's face, and she looks at Penelope and she looks differently.
She says, not am I well? Do I only matter to you when I have a Lord's engagement ring on my finger?
And Portia looks shocked.
Yeah,
she's like, "Oh crap! I think I messed up."
And even when Penelope walks out, she looks back at her, and like Prudence has come, like, "Oh, I think I'm pregnant." Blah blah blah. She barely even looks at Prudence.
She doesn't even look at Prudence. Yeah. She kind of looks back at Penelope, like, "Oh my gosh, like something's not right." Yeah. So I'm really hoping that there's a really nice scene between mother and daughter.
Yes,
where there's that reconciliation. Yeah, where there is that confirmation from, because let's face it, like Portia, when she talks to Penelope, like, there's the bit where she's telling Penelope, like, don't hope for love, you know, be smart.
Be smart.
I get what Portia's trying to say. Yeah. Because of her own experiences. She's lost hope in love. She doesn't even tell the other two to find love.
Yeah.
She just wants her daughters to be set for life, and that's it.
Yeah.
But I hope that we get a scene where Portia looks at Penelope and says, I don't care about anything. I love you because you're my daughter, and that's it. Yeah. Whether you bagged a Bridgerton or not,
I feel like that is a scene that needs to happen, and it needs to happen once Portia fully realizes that she's by herself. Like, Penelope is happy. She's with Colin. Yeah. They've probably gotten married at this point. Yeah. And she's like, I have no one. And I've pushed my youngest away in terms of, like, always berating her, always, you know, saying
never been kind
to her. And this is what she thinks of me, you know?
In the book, Penelope sets up the fund to take care of her mother. Yeah. I don't think that'll go as far in the show.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Because in the book, she does have a lot of money.
Yeah.
Because she's been doing it for a long time.
Yeah.
In this, not so much. Like, she does have money, but not that much.
Yeah.
But anyway, but yeah, I really want that to happen. But we're getting to the best bit. Which is the carriage scene.
The carriage scene!
Oh my gosh. Oh, man. We went feral. I think everyone
went feral. If there was a camera on us at that point, I swear to God, I feel like our neighbors thought we were being murdered.
Right?
I had friends tell me that their little children were just like shocked.
What is happening?
To see their mothers like just.
I think the conversation in the carriage scene is what makes everything else even sexier.
Oh God, it's so good.
Because we finally get Colin literally on his knees, talking to Penelope and just pouring his heart out. And the saddest bit about that is Penelope at the start is like, don't say things that you don't mean.
Well, she says it in the middle.
Well, that's what I mean. Like when he starts it, and she says, don't say things that you don't mean. Because it's like, she feels like, because she's never had that before, she literally feels like anything that he says is not going to be sincere.
Yeah.
And to think like that, even about a person that you consider such a good friend, that's really sad.
Yeah.
You know, that's very same song. And that really hit me because I'm kind of like that. Like if someone says something to me, like even if someone gives me a compliment, like, oh, you're looking so nice today, I don't believe it. Yeah. I really don't.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, I'm the same.
It's different if it's coming from you or from mom or from, you know, someone from the family.
Yeah.
You know, because they're my family. Like, yeah, they'll think I look nice.
Yeah.
But when someone else says it, I do not believe it.
Same. I'm the same.
That's bad.
That's really bad. Yeah.
That's really bad.
Yeah.
And that's really saying something.
Always be like, oh, thank you, you know, but inside I'm like, I don't think you mean that, but
I don't think you mean that.
Sure.
Although they might mean it.
I mean, yeah, but then it's like in your own brain, you don't connect
that.
Yeah.
But is that also if like a friend says it to you?
I mean, sort of, because I know it's really bad. And like when stuff, like if I'm dressed up for something or whatever, like people are like, oh yeah, you look great, and oh my god, you look amazing. In my head, I'm like, you're just saying that because my photo's on whatever social media. Like you're not gonna say something bad, you know, on thing because you're my friend. But like, I don't know. That's a horrible thing on my part to think, I guess, because I don't know. I know my friends; they're not shallow people. They wouldn't say it just, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
But in your own brain as well, you're like, you can't accept those.
Do you accept it when I say it to you?
Yeah.
Same.
And like even mom and dad, like, well, dad never says anything. He doesn't even notice sometimes. No.
I colored my hair blonde and he didn't notice
for like ages. I was like, Dad, come on. Yeah. So dad is, and that's not and people be like, oh, your dad. No, that's just dad.
Oblivious.
That's just how he barely compliments mom. And it's not a bad thing. It's not a mean thing. Not in a mean way. But he's not an observant person. I think like that.
I think like the whole taking compliments thing, I think for people like, you know, we both are in the same position. We've never dated. We've never had anyone be interested in us.
Yeah.
Right? I've never been asked out. Nothing. Right? So for me, if like some guy was to say, oh, you're so beautiful, I'm like, sure. I am not going to believe it. Like ever. Right?
Yeah.
I'm just not going to believe it.
Yeah.
Like, not at all.
Like, I've had guys like me in high school and stuff, and they've been like, oh, you know, you're so cute and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, am I though?
Oh, you were so cute.
I don't think no.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Well, at least you had that. I never had that, so good for you.
Well, yeah.
Small pleasures.
Small pleasures.
Like, you know, but I objectively know that I don't look bad.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, we know that.
We don't
look like crap.
We look like crap right now because it's
the middle of the night.
But yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh god.
Yeah, but like, yeah, I get what Penelope feels in that moment. You know, like the object of your dreams is standing in front of you and telling
saying stuff
you,
like, you know, I would rather be
tortured.
I would rather find sleep because sleep is where I see you or whatever. I
can't be awake anymore.
I can't be awake anymore. And he's like, you know, feelings that I cannot. No, what is it? Feelings that I cannot.
That feel like torture.
They feel like torture that I cannot, do not, will not give up or whatever. And I don't remember the exact order, but I think it's that.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, ah! Oh, it's too good. Oh,
it's too good.
That line is the.
I don't think it's there yet, though. I think there'd be something
else.
There's
gonna be something else. And there's gonna be like a very like specific line. That's a little bit long. That line. I feel like there's gonna be a line coming out that's gonna be so specific. It's gonna be the equivalent of "I burn for you," and "You are the bane of my existence and the object of all my desires."
Oh my gosh. But yeah, like, so I get what she's going through, like, so well.
Yeah.
And in that moment, Colin is like, oh, he's irresistible. He's so good. I love
so
it.
good because he's like, okay, fine, and he sort of pulls back a little bit. And
when she says, "Oh, but we're friends."
Yeah, we are friends, and he's like, "Okay, forgive me, I don't want to." You know?
And then she's like, "I would like to be more than friends.
Very much like to be more than friends, so much more." And then and the music,
Mr. Worldwide,
Mr. Worldwide. It like the crescendo goes up,
so
and
good. It's such a happy moment.
Yes,
and I love that they played a song that is like,
Give me everything
tonight.
I
mean, it wasn't everything,
it
but
wasn't
okay.
everything. It was mostly everything.
It was the symbolize.
Yeah, it was the symbol.
Symbolic.
Yeah.
It was symbolic. But yeah, like, and then immediately after that, we get, you know, for God's sake, Penelope Featherington.
Are you going to marry me or not?
Oh my goodness. Like,
we have to wait a whole month for the next part of that.
Today is what? As we record this, it's the 21st of May. Oh my goodness, this is too long. It's not even the 30th of May yet.
It's not. You can't even say, "Oh, there's 2 weeks left."
No,
there's still 3.5 weeks left.
Oh my gosh, this is not fair, Netflix.
Oh god,
not fair.
They cannot do this
all.
to us next season. They cannot.
It's the worst.
They can't. I'm sorry.
Like, this is the worst.
No one's gonna accept it.
I think we're going to have to just call it Bridgerton month.
Yeah, it is Bridgerton month
because, you know, let's face it. Like, we're gonna watch this every few days.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
Every day. I watch the carriage scene every single day. I have. And I've watched it like 5-6 times every single day since it's happened.
I love the carriage scene because it's sexy, it's romantic, it's brilliant. The memes that have come out of it.
Brilliant.
So good. so good.
I love the lady being like the carriage driver and like so suggestive eyes and like, oh my god, it's so good. Because these two did not even realize that the curtain is open.
I know. And then immediately after they stop kissing, they start giggling.
Yeah.
Like, isn't that like
she's
the
like,
mark
Colin,
of
we're at your house. And he just goes, oh, can the carriage driver not keep driving? And then they burst out laughing.
It's so funny.
Because in the book, she is the one who says that. Because he's like, we've stopped. As in they stopped outside the Featherington house, not the Bridgerton house. Because she says, Colin, we're at your house. But then she says... Oh,
can the carriage driver not keep
driving? She said something like, can't the driver keep going or something? And then they, you know,
laugh. Yeah,
so
I really like that.
Yeah.
So one of the things that came up, this is what bugs me about social media.
More things.
So I was looking at a thing and they were talking about the bit, you know, when her hand goes into his hair, right? Love it. But they weren't talking about that. They were like, oh, they've got baby hands. Oh no, she's got baby hands. Like, and I'm just like, are you fat shaming her hands? And saying that
it's cringy.
Yeah, that it's cringy. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
Are you insane?
You know what this is? Hot take. I don't think people are ready to see a person in a bigger body.
Yeah.
Being sexy.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
They agree.
Do not like it or they don't feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Right? It's not normal.
For them.
But it isn't because we don't see it.
Yeah. It's true. Yeah.
You know, it is normal, but we just don't see it.
Yeah. We don't see it in our media. Yeah. And if we do see someone in a plus size body, they're usually the comic relief. Or they're like the quirky best friend.
Exactly. We never see them
any sensual qualities about them.
And if they do, it's always made out as like, oh, look how desperate she is. Or look how like, ew. Like, you know, it's never in a positive way. Yeah. So to have a character who is curvy, who is plus size, mid size, whatever. Oh my gosh, I love it. And we kind of talked about it at the start where, you know, talking about how her clothes kind of fit her really well in that sense. So I feel like people need to stop, and Nicola herself has talked about this. Yeah. And I was reading that interview. That's why I'm waiting for part 2 because of their spicy scene. She's talked about how for her it was this moment of empowerment. Yeah. And I'm just like,
and how she was like
looking forward to that.
Yeah. She was sort of like, I wanted to be, because she has implied that it's going to be full frontal. Yeah. You know. To what extent?
Yeah, we don't know, but
it is going to be quite a bit.
Well, she's not going to show it to her parents. That's for sure.
Exactly. So the parents have the PG version. The mummy has a PG version. But she was saying like, I want to be able to look at this when I'm 60 and look back on it and be like, I looked hot.
Good. Yeah, I was hot.
And because I think she's so hot. Oh my
beautiful.
God.
Like, she is gorgeous.
She's stunning.
She reminds me of, like, when you look at the paintings, like those Rubenesque women of like, they're in undress, like those classical paintings of
that's what she
women with full figured thighs and hips and bellies, and, you know, like, being curvy was actually a sign of wealth and well-being. It wasn't this thing of like, now, like, oh, because you're plus size or whatever, you're undesirable. That wasn't the case in a lot of societies, not everywhere, but in a lot of places, because it showed that you were well fed, right? And that meant something at the time. So I like that she's like that. So I think people need to really start, and this is what bugs me a lot of times.
And another thing is coming back to Colin for a second. And Debling, who we haven't really talked about, but this whole thing of like, oh, Debling might have been a better match because, you know, there's security and blah, 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 and it's a fantasy to be in love. And I'm like,
but we're in a fantasy. We're not living real life.
Fantasy. 1 second. We're in a fantasy. We are not going to, like, do you really think that Penelope would be anywhere, like, satisfied, not even happy, satisfied with someone who said love is not really a thing for me, it's probably not going to happen, I'm gonna go off for 3 years, chill out, bye. Like, nope, stop it. Like, how are these people having this, like, people don't know how to read media, and I'm sick of it.
Stupid.
I hate it. I hate it.
Okay, so yeah, people don't know how to read media. There's so many stupid takes out there on TikTok, which are like, seriously, do you not watch the same show? I'm not saying I'm an expert.
No, we're not saying that maybe all of this is wrong, what we've said for the last hour and 26 minutes.
I don't think it is, but maybe it is.
I don't think it is. But maybe it is. I don't know. But this is our opinion. This is our 2 cents.
Our 2 cents. But no, but can I say one thing? We are coming from a slightly more, like, okay, maybe, from a more media educated background.
Yes.
Right? But having said that, there are people out there who have made some wild takes who are media educated people.
Exactly, which is crazy to me.
So, like, one of my very, very favorite YouTubers and TikTokers has made certain comments, and I'm like, really? You're such a smart woman and you think like that? Like, that makes no sense to me. It doesn't compute. And I'm just like, I mean, yeah, she doesn't always say things that I agree with, but this was like completely different.
Yeah.
And I was like, maybe it just comes from, like, and controversial take here. So last year was Kate. She's Indian, right? Everyone kind of was like very overly positive about a lot of stuff. And I think it was because they didn't want to appear racist. This year, because she's not
a person of color,
it's like all hands off. Like, we can just say whatever we want.
Yeah.
Right? And I feel like that's so unfair.
Yeah.
You know? I'm just saying maybe that's it. That's one thing. Maybe that's one thing, right? Maybe. And I'm not saying that that's exactly what it is. That's probably one thing. And I feel like people are more comfortable saying negative things about people, like, plus size storylines rather than interracial storylines, right? Yeah. Race is something that is so sensitive. That a lot of people do not comment negatively on it, even if they are like, look,
a problematic character. Yeah.
You know, not to say that last year there was a problematic stuff happening. It wasn't that, but I feel like there was overwhelmingly so much positive stuff that came out, whereas this year there is not overwhelmingly negative, but there's quite a bit of
negativity. Yeah.
You know, so there's that.
And it's really unfair.
It's unfair. And there's that very interesting sort of, it's noticeable.
And look, Debling, let's just touch on him for a second. I'm very glad that he was.
I don't know. Does it keep coming up?
So with Debling, I'm very glad that he was interested in Penelope in the extent of he was not there for nefarious means.
Yeah, he was genuinely interested in her.
Genuine in the sense of like he wanted to marry because he wanted a companion. He wanted someone who he could just get along with.
Yeah.
But she never would have been like satisfied just being by herself if he's gone for all that time. Like,
well, he very clearly was like, I'm not going to be there.
Yeah.
So, you know.
So what is, I mean, yes, you can man the estate and you can do this. And like, that's, I mean, it gives you some kind of power.
Maybe that's what happened to Simon. He's off on an expedition.
Maybe he's meeting up with Dublin. I don't know. But like, but yeah, there's only so much you can, so long you can sustain something like that.
Absolutely.
You know? So the people were like, oh, he's better than Colin.
It would have been a half-life. It would have been a half-life for her. Like, she would have been comfortable. She would have enjoyed her life.
Yeah.
All of that. But like, it would have been a half-life.
Like, honestly, with Colin, it took him a minute to realize. And that's not a bad thing. Yeah. Like, men just, it takes them a second.
Especially when you've been friends with someone for so long, you don't see them in a particular light until something drastic happens. And that's what happens. The kiss happens and he's like, okay, this is a different thing. Yeah. Right? Okay, so let's kind of like start tapering off because we need to quickly chat about what we think could happen further, and then we're gonna wrap up because it's a bit long. But I think what is like one prediction that you have in terms of, because it's something very important. If you haven't read the book, Colin, so the carriage scene happens after Colin finds out that she's Lady Whistledown. Yeah. This has happened before he finds out Lady Whistledown, and his vitriol towards Lady Whistledown is very much more pronounced in the show than in the book. I will ruin her life. In the book, he really doesn't care. Yeah. Whereas in this, he's like, I will ruin her.
Oh, Jesus.
And it's like,
oh. And Penelope and Eloise is kind of like, oh, shit.
The stakes are high. Yeah. The stakes are very high. So what is your prediction in terms of that?
Oh, God, I really don't. No, I really don't. It's really scary.
I think it could go two ways. Yeah. Number one, I could think that he finds out, he gets super pissed. And, you know, from the promos, it kind of looks like it'll happen
at the party,
at the engagement ball. Yeah. Or just after, because someone posted there's the bit where she's in the carriage and he's following her, which is how it happens in the books. Yeah. He follows her and he finds out, right? Yeah. I think he might find out. He'll be really, really upset. Yeah. Will not talk to her. He can't break up the engagement because that's a scandal. Yeah. Right? Already Anthony and all have suffered that. So maybe they'll be like, no, can't do this. Yeah. He is cold to her, which I'm like, oh, I hate that scenario. What I'm hoping happens is that he finds out. Yeah. He's upset. But I really want... I would love for her to tell him, but I don't think that's going to happen because that's not drama. Yeah. I think he's going to find out. And this is my dream scenario. He finds out, he follows her, finds out, all of that. His first thought is, oh my goodness, if someone finds out, she's dead.
Yeah. Especially the queen.
I need to protect this woman. Yeah. Because not only am I marrying her, she's the love of my life. Yeah. Right? So... And also, her secret coming out could ruin the Bridgerton.
Exactly.
Right?
And we don't need that.
Right? There's a lot at stake.
Because we've already had the potential of the Bridgertons being ruined with Eloise from last year and like people, you know, giving the cut direct to them and like all this stuff. Like we've had that. We don't need that at an extreme level. No, but the
potential of that becoming even worse is there.
Yeah, that's what I mean. We don't need it more extreme than that.
So perhaps Colin is like, okay, we need to keep this a secret. No one can know. Yeah. Right? He's still angry with her. Yeah. And he's still upset. Yeah. But it's not like him icing her out. It's more like, I'm upset that this is what you've done. Yeah. You know? But I kind of understand where you're coming from. I get it. Yeah. And like, you know, whatever. I want someone to fight in her corner. Yeah. And I want that to be Colin and I want that to be the Bridgertons. Yeah. So in the book, you know how it's Simon and Daphne that kind of help with her secret coming out because there's going to be a bet and all of that. Yeah. In the book, it's Danbury that puts the bet out, and this is obviously Queen Charlotte. I really want it to happen so that it kind of happens like in the books where it is Penelope and Colin that reveal that she is Lady Whistledown, and it's done at a ball.
Yeah.
From the teaser, it kind of looks like there's a ball happening. These people come in with trays of,
there is a bit where he's like standing in the middle and he's got a glass in his hand.
Yeah, so that looks like the engagement ball, I'm assuming. But the other thing is the Bridgerton ball has not happened yet.
The Hearts and Flowers ball.
Either that or whatever it is. The Bridgerton ball usually happens.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, is the reveal going to happen in that?
Yeah.
And that will be the end? Because you know how the season closing is always like there's a big ball. Yeah. So will that happen there? And then it's revealed and the Bridgerton family is going to stand behind them. Like, I think that would be great.
Yeah.
I would love that.
Yeah. I would like that too.
You know? So yeah, so I'm just like, I'm really nervous.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're going to handle it.
And even the whole thing of like Cressida being like, I will get that reward. Yeah. And blah, blah, blah. That could be that, you know, she is not taking the positive turn. Yeah. And she's just back
and Eloise
to the way.
realizes
Eloise
like, oh
nah,
yeah.
Nah.
If they make Eloise a bit of a villain in this, and because in the teaser she's like, you've got until midnight, otherwise I'm telling Colin.
Yeah.
I'm very nervous about that. Yeah. And how they're going to handle that.
Yeah.
Because I need a reconciliation between the two girls.
Yeah.
Because if that doesn't happen...
Because it's just too heartbreaking. Like, it's just too much.
As someone who has gone through a very traumatic friendship breakup...
Same.
I don't... Yeah. It's too hard. No. I want to see something healing happen and something positive come out of a female friendship.
Yep.
You know? And plus, she's going to be married to your brother. It's like, you can't be upset with her.
Yep.
So, I don't know. So, I don't know how they're going to handle it. The other thing is the whole Featherington thing. Mm. I have a feeling that Penelope is going to get pregnant and she's going to be the one to have the son. And her son is the one that will inherit the title of Lord Featherington.
Yeah.
Which I think would be such a good moment.
Yeah.
For her to kind of
be like, huzzah.
Be like, sisters?
Yeah. Sisters?
Especially when Prudence goes, oh, you're in the race. Like, with what husband?
Yeah.
With Colin Bridgerton, thank you very much. I bagged Bridgerton.
He has,
I bagged Bridgerton.
Bagged Bridgerton. You guys didn't even get guys with titles. Not that Colin has one. He's not a Viscount, but he is brother to a Viscount.
Exactly.
You know, like.
So I think so. Yeah. Oh, I'm so nervous about it.
I'm so nervous. Oh my god! I can't.
Anyway, I think we should wrap up. We've kept you all long enough.
Yes, we've kept everybody here long enough.
So we'd love to hear from you and to see what you guys think about the season.
About Bridgerton season 3 part 1. I loved it.
I loved it. I cannot wait for the next part. Yeah. And we're gonna post on our socials, and I'm gonna try and make a few TikTok videos.
Oh my gosh!
About my thoughts. So I'll post that up on our Insta as well.
Yeah.
And it'll be fun to chit chat about.
Yeah.
Bridgerton.
Bridgerton,
dear gentle readers.
I
love it. Anyway, thank you for sticking around this episode. I wouldn't say it's completely unedited. There's bits in it that we did have to edit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's a bit more of a raw episode, which I think is kind of fun. It's kind of fun. Sure. Anyway, so we will catch you next time. Please follow us on our socials. Hope you enjoyed this. And our next one's a 90th episode, so we've got to think about what we want to do.
We don't know what it is yet.
Because it's going to be a big one.
Yeah.
Or maybe a medium one. I don't know. We'll think about it. In the meantime,
we'll chat to you next time.
Bye.